Welcome to Lure Painting Live, Saturday night edition. I am Krista, the painter behind Colorado Custom Lures. And tonight we're going to do a greenback cutthroat trout. I was just kind of messing around with this trout swim bait that I'm not actually painting tonight because we're going to do a DRT Tiny Clash KO swim bait tonight. So I posted a post on my Facebook page about some information on how these swim, how you can fish them, the different ways you can fish them. And so if you're interested in reading about that, please check my Facebook page for that post. Also, they're also very hard to get. The Tiny Clash is really popular. They're usually out of stock, and oftentimes they go for several $100s on eBay because they're in such short demand. So these swim very, very close to the original, almost identical. So I've gotten my hands on these, and we did one a couple weeks ago in a bluegill, and tonight I'm going to do it in a greenback cutthroat trout. I have no idea why this thing keeps dinging at me, but it keeps dinging at me, so I'm going to silence it. Okay. And now let me pull up the feed here so I can see you guys. On my page, it doesn't want to load, of course, because it's just a pain in the butt. So I can see what you guys are seeing. And then I also pinned the website and the where is it at? This thing is being a pain in the butt. I pinned the website and the discount code in the description. But if you would prefer, I will pin it in the comments as well. I don't know why this is not cooperating. So hang on one second, guys, while I pull this up. Make sure everybody can see me. I see that I am live, so everybody can see me. And as soon as this comes up, I will get the discount code pinned. It's being slow, so I apologize. Anyhow, I hope you guys are doing well tonight. We had a nice day today. Spent some time out on the shore with the kids and the dog. And they're carving pumpkins inside right now while I'm doing this, and I'll join them when I'm done. So this is some Stencil res. This is a primer. It is a acrylic polyurethane. If you've watched my show before, then you've heard me talk about it. It just helps the paint stick to the lure better than the acrylic paint. I'm also going to stick a rubber band around the joint here. It's not super critical as long as you're not getting resin in the joint. A little bit of paint won't really matter too much. It's not going to affect the action or anything like that. Honestly, you could leave the rubber band out. It's actually going to leave a mark. I'm going to take this off, actually. I changed my mind. I don't remember if I used rubber bands last time I painted these. But anyway, Aspen, I'm on my live video right now. Aspen, please. Just one pair per kid, please. So my kids have decided to come out here during my show and ask me questions in the middle of my show. So my apologies to everybody who's listening. They know better, but they don't care. So anyway, I can't get the comments to come up on my end for some reason. My Facebook is not cooperating. So maybe I will now. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I'm so sorry. There it is. Okay, I got it. Piece of crap. I'm sorry. Anyway, so Stencil res is what I put on first. And that is, it's basically just a primer to keep the paint from peeling off if your clear coat were to get compromised, like from hook rash or something like that. The Stencil res would really help. It would help it stick better. Oh my gosh, this thing is really upsetting me. I'm trying to pin this, you guys. Everything is not working my way as usual. Okay, so I am going to do 15% off, and I'll answer your questions as soon as I can, you guys. I'm just trying to get through. I'm trying to get through this, okay? So I apologize that I'm not listening to anybody right now. There we go. I got it. And it won't let me pin it. Of course. No, it won't let me pin it. Yeah, I'll have to try pinning that in a minute. So there it is. So 15% off. I have some new stuff I'm going to show you guys tonight too. I have some, I did a bunch of like chrome designs, and we've done, Chris and I have been working on jigs and chatterbaits, and he did some plastics too. If you like the Zoom speed craws, we have a very simple mold that's nearly identical. And so those are, we've got some of those up as well. Some twin tail grubs. He does a really cool skirted twin tail grub. And yeah, I'll show you some of that stuff tonight so you can see what it looks like on camera. But all that stuff is new to the site. Also, I was going to tell y'all, I am going to be doing a live sale for Christmas tonight. I know everybody loves live sales and everybody's been waiting for that. So I'm either going to do it probably the weekend before Black Friday, so that I can make sure everybody gets their stuff before Christmas. So I will put out an event here shortly about that, and it'll be a similar format to my previous live sales. They are very long, so if you're going to participate, be ready for a 2-day probably marathon like they usually end up being. So if you can't tune in, for the first part Saturday, we usually extend it to Sunday with whatever we don't get through. All right, so I'll get to your questions in a second, you guys. For some reason, I'm having trouble pulling up the feed on my end. Okay. Yeah, it's not dead. Okay, maybe it'll work. I don't know why. It's not happy right now. Expand. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I think I have it working the way it's supposed to. You guys are going to get cold tonight, huh? I know it's such a bummer that it's going to get cold right before Halloween. We're warmer here. We're kind of in like a sub-desert climate in southern Colorado, so it won't be super, super cold. We'll probably be above freezing that whole night. So hopefully it's not terrible, but we'll have to see. All right. We haven't, no, it's been warm here. It's been warm. Hello, everybody. Okay. What do I cut the primer with? Nothing. It's ready to spray out the bottle. Just making sure I didn't miss any other questions. And I think we're good. Okay. So we're good. All right. So I'm going to keep moving on. If you guys are watching, happy Halloween to you, Austin. Hey, Bradley. Yeah, I have been taken off like a week every month just because I've had other things coming up. We went to Great Wolf Lodge for my daughter's birthday present last weekend. So that, and then I had a meeting. I teach group fitness classes as well, a couple times a week in the mornings, and I had a meeting at my gym for the staff, and it overlapped this time, and I also had a pack we left for Great Wolf Lodge in the morning on Sunday, so I just had way too much stuff going on to do a show last week, so I had to take the day off, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I just had too much to do. All right, so we're doing a Tiny Clash KO. If you haven't used these, they're very, very, very much almost indistinguishable from the original. These are an expensive swim bait. They're very hard to get. They go basically they're out of stock all the time. You pretty much have to buy them used for like, several times what they're retailing for. And so these are a great option if you can't get your hands on a real one or don't want to spend $200 on one. I sell these for $40 each. They're not a super cheap knockoff blank, so they're not going to be dirt cheap, but it's still half of what an original retail sells for when you can get them for retail. Okay, I'm drinking. All right, so let's go. We're doing a cutthroat trout. So if you guys haven't ever seen a cutthroat trout, we do have them in the lakes and rivers here. And I've never painted this design. It's not drastically different from a brown trout. The spots are a little less and the markings are a little different. The coloration is a little different, but it's got a lot of similarities in color to a brown trout. And so I'm doing like a juvenile because this is a pretty small swim bait. So in all likelihood, if you saw one this size in real life, it would be a juvenile probably, or would have juvenile markings. So I'm going to go with that. Plus the juvenile trout are generally more interesting looking anyways. So it just makes for a better, something a little more interesting to paint. So right now what I'm putting on is a mica powder, and I mixed it with 4030, which is it's a Createx 4030 Balancing Clear. You can also use, there's a transparent base, which is 4004, so 4004, or a Balancing Clear, which is basically, they're just two clear, like, you can use them to either make your paint more transparent or to mix with like different mica powders, because you can use Pearl X is one brand of mica powder that is, I think, I don't know if it's made in the USA, but it's a common brand here that you can get at most art supply places online. And they make all different colors and color shifting colors. This is Pearl X right here. This is the red blue duo. So it's like a color shifting. Sorry, I'll give you. This is like from a multi-pack, a variety multi-pack of different colors. That's why this is small, but they usually come in like a little. So I'm going to edit this. They usually come in a little jar that's bigger than that, but since that was from like, I don't know, a 12-pack of different colors that I bought, it's small, but honestly, you really don't need like big quantities of them because you only use like a tiny little like scoop from this paintbrush at a time. Okay, next I'm going to put on some markings, some dots, and I'll show you guys what this reference photo looks like in case you didn't see it on my page. You caught him in Rocky Mountain National Park. Nice. Yes, I've seen the red. I've seen the ones with the red on them. I'm doing a juvenile, so it's going to look a little bit different, but a ghost investigation, that sounds terrifying. I am going to do, Jason, I am going to do the live sale. I think it's going to be like the third weekend in November. So I'm going to do it before Black Friday. The post office is really slow right now. If you haven't noticed that, you I'm sure will notice it. So here, I'm going to show you up all on YouTube. This is the reference photo I'm using. Okay, and this is from Colorado. This is a photo from someone in Colorado. So that is the pretty one that I found online. So I'm going to take some black and we're going to do what did I do with my black paint? It's right here. We're going to do some spots that, look like those spots near the bottom. And then I'm going to shade over top of them with Pearl again. And that will give them that kind of shady appearance that you kind of see in that photo. So this kind of has like all like these larger. Oops, there's a little piece of dried. Hang on a second. Got a little piece of dried paint in there. I'm just thinning the black so it's not quite so, I don't know if it's going to make any difference, honestly, but not really. That was kind of a waste of time. Anyways, so we're just going to do the spots. You can basically put as much pearl over it as you want. And the more pearl you put over it, the lighter it's going to look. And when you put the pearl over the black, it's going to look different depending on what, angle you have the swim bait facing. And that makes it look really realistic too. So I'm just going to grab a paper towel because I like to stencil with it laying flat. And I think you guys can sort of see. I'm going to point this down a little bit. Actually, let me check and see if you guys can see what I'm doing over here on YouTube. The way I have this pointed. Let me check it real quick. I'm sorry. I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Hey, Brad, how's it going? Share the feed if you can. I know it's going to be tough to get a broad audience tonight because it's going to be a lot of people doing Halloween stuff. That should help with YouTube. You're not going to be able to see me as much, but I'm sure you'd rather see the painting than see me. And I think you should be able to see okay on Facebook. Okay, so I'm just going to take some of the larger spots, like these ones here on the top of this stencil, like right by my finger. And I'm going to kind of like just shade along the bottom area of this to give it that speckled look. And I'm going to flip back over to my reference photo. Oh, thanks so much, Rob. I'm going to flip over to my reference photo again. I'm kind of using my iPad to go back and forth between my comments and my reference picture. And I'm going to just put some spots along the bottom here. That came out kind of runny. It's always a good idea to spray your airbrush away from your lure before you start spraying on your lure to make sure your paint consistency is okay. Every once in a while I screw up and I forget. Because sometimes you'll have like a lot of water left over from rinsing it out. You'll have water left over in like by the needle of your brush from rinsing it or cleaning it out from the last color. And so sometimes it'll just kind of like spit itself out, all that water or whatever. So again, I'm just doing like some larger like not circles, but irregular kind of spots. They can be fairly dark because, like I said, I'm going to go back over them with pearl to kind of mute them out as much as I want to. And then we'll go from there. So all right, all the way up to the tail here. I'm going to keep going with these spots. And I'm going to take a look. So there are some spots kind of up higher too. So I'm going to put these up higher. This picture has a lot of glare, so they're kind of hard to see, but I'm pretty sure there's some spots on top too. So I'm going to do that too. And then the middle has those reddish pink spots. So I'll do those last because they're kind of on top. And it's hard to if you pull up this picture, like if you put Cutthroat Trout in, you'll see this photo on Google. I just Googled it to get the picture. That's usually what I do when I'm trying to copy like a fish pattern. I'll just Google the fish and then I'll find a photo that I like that I think is a prettier presentation of the fish I'm trying to paint. Because you want one that looks, you want the prettier looking of the bunch. So I'll pick like a picture that has a really nice detail photo of the fish. And then that's the one I'll pick for my reference photo. The one that has a good amount of detail. So again, I'm just doing the other side with these spots. And they don't have to look exactly the same on both sides. You just want, that on top and on bottom is what we're going for here. A row, basically, if you will. And this is just a stencil Amazon, I think, but any art supply, a lot of art supplies that have airbrushing stuff will have this stencil because it's an airbrush texture stencil for anybody, you know, any type of airbrushing. I think it's called Texture FX or something like that, and it's by Art Tool. And Art Tool, I believe, is an Iwata like sub brand or whatever, like I don't know, one of their lines, like their stencil line or something like that. And so you can get it on Amazon or wherever you might find airbrush supplies, like Coast Airbrush has it. I don't know if Spray Gunner has them or not, but I wouldn't doubt that they would. Otherwise, Amazon. And they're paper stencils, so, you know, once you gum them up, which honestly, I've had these for a long time, and I'm just now starting to think about replacing the set because they're kind of, you know, there's a lot of paint stuck to them. I think this set is like $14, which is kind of a lot for what it is, but they're readily available and you can get them fast. I cut a lot of my own stencils. I get this question all the time. How do you make like your cross stencil, et cetera, et cetera? I draw them on my iPad. So I have an Apple Pencil and I use a program called Autodesk Sketchbook. And it's an Adobe program that's free and you can trace and paint with layers. So you can take a photo and you can import it into the software. And then you can create a layer over top of it and you can trace whatever, you know, whatever pattern you want, like the spots or stripes or whatever. And then you can dim the layer with the photo so that all you have left is the outlines that you made. And then I take that image and I email it back to myself. And then I import it into my software for my vinyl cutter. A lot of people will use Cricut, but I have a Silhouette Cameo, which is the same thing, just a different brand. And then I use that tracing to cut my stencils with that program and with my Cameo. So there's a lot of money kind of in that whole process, but that's how I make most of my stencils. The ones that I buy, generally speaking, are the micro stencils, like the tiny dots, the tiny texture. It's kind of hard to cut that with this Silhouette Cameo. It can be done somewhat, not the super duper tiny stuff, but I could probably cut a lot of this with it. But it's a lot of trial and error and frustration. So I'd rather just, some things I'd rather just pay for. So those, and Whitmore Farms has some good ones. And I believe Shane at Sugar Tit Custom Lures carries his stencils as well. So you can get blanks and stencils from the same place now. And those are very good too. This is one from there. This is the trout one from there. I just masked off some of it, but they're very good. And then Anarchy Models is the other place. It's really good for texture stencils. So Insane Custom Stencils also, guys, if you're wanting to buy stencils, has a really big selection of lure stencils. So I recommend any of those places. I do not sell my stencils. I generally make my own designs for me only, unfortunately. I don't mean to be a party pooper, but I try to keep my stuff a little bit unique, which I'm sure you can understand. All right, so we're going to just take this pearl and go back over top of this to kind of just mute it a little bit. So again, this is the same stuff. If this does not end up being enough, which is not going to be, I can tell you that right now by looking at it, I may need to put some metallic white Createx in it, and I'll go over that. But I'm going to see if this works first. And if it's not enough, then I'll go back around and do something a little more opaque. I'm just hand drying this to speed up the process. You don't ever have to heat set anything if you don't want to. There's a few techniques that people use for texture that it helps to heat set or you have to heat set for, but I don't really do any of those things. So it's never really necessary to heat set. It just speeds up the drying process if you're trying to do like multiple layers and you don't want to wait for them to dry. I'm going to add a little metallic white. This is Auto Air Fine Metallic White, just so that this is a little bit more opaque. And then I'm going to reduce it just a tiny bit and stir it up. Do you need something?
No. Okay. The kids gave you the small pumpkin, just to let you know.
I know. I already said I would take it.
Just let me know. They already made that.
Yeah, I told them it was okay. They're carving pumpkins, and I told them I would take the small one.
They were like, that one's got a hole in it. That's mine.
It has a hole in it, so it's mine. We got huge pumpkins. I mean, they're like this big at the pumpkin patch. And then they got one small one. And so I said I would take it.
It's like a normal size pumpkin.
Yeah. And that one's not even really that small. It's like Chris said, it's like a normal size one. I don't have a great deal of patience for pumpkin carving like I do for this. But don't expect me to come up with some great pumpkin to share on my page. I'm the kind of person, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about what I could be painting in my garage while I'm doing stuff like that. This is taking way more paint to cover than I thought. I should have done this lighter. These spots, I should have done them lighter. But it is what it is, so I'll just keep going until I get it over. I'm going to come back to the comments so I can see what you guys are saying in case I missed it. Oh, the mica powders? Yeah. Yes, definitely got to get some of the Pearl X. The Pearl X come in sets. Just one place you can look for the sets. I like going to MrArt.com or Dick Blick. That's a good place to get general art supplies, and those mica powders will be there. They have some at Hobby Lobby, but you're not going to find a huge variety of colors there. Online, you'll find a lot more variety, and I recommend, if you can, just get like a multi-set of them. So you just get like, that looks pretty good. You can get, I have one that's like a 12-pack, and it has like violet interference, duo red blue, a bunch of gold colors, and copper and silver. I primarily use, the interference colors are like must buy. I would buy the violet interference and the blue interference for sure. Those are must haves. The blue interference is what you see on the Strike King oyster bait, and you'll see it on the French Pearl. The Mega Bass French Pearl has blue interference. And then the violet interference, you'll see, when you take like a shad and you shine it in the light, you see that purplish pink hue that shows up only when you bend it in the light a certain way. That's what the violet interference looks like. So those are two of the must-have colors. And the blue you can use like on the shoulders of the fish too. You'll see like that bluish purple flash, and that's going to give you that look too. Okay, moving right along. That took way too long. All right. So share the feed if you can, you guys. Airbrushing your pumpkin? No. Yeah, the white would, but I was like already committed with the pearl, so I was just gonna go with it. Oh yeah, so soft plastics. Yep, same exact thing. Right, guys. So check out the store too when you get a chance. I have some new stuff, lots of new jigs, chatterbaits, some chrome square bills. I'm kind of like trying to get a bunch of stuff, in the store before I do the live sale. So We're going to do some swinging head jigs. We've got a bunch of poison head jigs and chatterbaits. These are awesome. Chris took them out the other day, and I'll show you what a finished one looks like. So this is the 5/8 ounce poison head chatterbait. So this is the bleeding sparkle shad. It's got a sparkly silver white skirt. Anyway, I have that in like 3 different sizes. Okay, back to where I was doing. So, okay. The video's glitching. The video might be glitching because my internet connection is probably sucky. So if that's happening, I'm super sorry. You can always pop over to YouTube. I did post a link at the bottom. There's the link right next to the discount code. So if you're having problems for whatever reason with the Facebook feed, maybe try looking at the YouTube feed and see if that's any better. So we're going to do some golden yellow and you know what? Actually, I'm thinking. And a little bit of sepia. So we're going to make this kind of like a brownish yellow. I could put gold over this, but since I already have a pearl base underneath, I'm going to just go with a transparent goldish brown color instead of doing a gold pearl, because it'll show up, it'll look gold, it'll look pearly anyway because of the pearl base that I have underneath it. I'm just going to thin this out decent so that it is transparent. Okay, so I used, this is Wicked Detail Golden Yellow. I'm sorry, just regular Wicked Golden Yellow. It's not detail. And then sepia, Wicked Detail Sepia. So I'm going to put this back up here in my helping hands, and we're going to go across basically everything except for the belly. And I'm going to point this downwards so that I get a little bit darker on the top and a little bit less on the bottom. So if this ends up looking a little bit too bright, what I'll do is I'll go back over it with a little bit of sepia to kind of make it look a little less bright. I mixed a little sepia in with this golden yellow to keep it from being too bright, but if it's not enough, you can always take the sepia and thin it down and spray it over top, and then that will kind of dull down the brightness a little bit too. Sepia is really good for that, like making bright colors a little earthier and blending things in together. Another must-have color. I wouldn't worry too much about the brightness on the top. We're going to shade that with green and brown a little bit, so it's not going to be bright at the end of the day. So that looks pretty good, actually, and I'll show you the photo also. So it is pearly. The pearl is underneath, so I'm going to just clean this out. It's good enough to me, I think. And then we'll do some green, a little bit of green, and then a little bit of sepia on the top. Well, I'll probably do the sepia last. We'll do some spots first, and those are going to have to be dotted on. And then I have the red to do as well. And I'll do that probably before I do the black spots. So let's do some moss green on the shoulders. I'll give it that green back look. So just a few drops of moss green, and then I'm going to make sure it's good and thin with a little extra reducer. My reducer is 4013, I think. You can use 4011 or 4013. It used to be 4012, but I think that, I don't know if they make that anymore. Somebody told me they weren't making it anymore, but then I've also seen it for sale, but I don't know. I use lacquer paint mostly now, so I don't buy a lot of water-based paint, so I don't see what's available much anymore. So I want to keep this mostly on the top half. So I'm just going to fade it down a little bit, and then I'm going to get some You know what I forgot to do on the face is a little bit of texture in black. So I may go back over that and do that. I'm thinking how I'm going to do that. Sometimes I have to stop and think. So you have to be patient. Sometimes I just have to study the picture and think about the best way to go about it. Again, you kind of have to flip back and forth to see if you're getting it on even. So there's green to gold. I think that's pretty good. That's about even. I'm going to go along the spine a little bit here. And then, yeah, you know what? I forgot to do like a bunch of the texture around the face, which is going to be kind of hard. So we'll come back and do that. There's almost like I also just noticed there's some almost like a burnt umber color on the cheeks, and I didn't really like notice that. So I'll have to find that color. We'll do that at the end though, because that's probably going to be like one of the last things is that face detail. I'm going to put some black in here and water it down. And I'm going to put a little bit of texture around the mouth area and the eyes because I kind of forgot about that when I had the black in there. So I just kind of thin this down. I don't know if it's going to matter much, but it might. Let me check and see if you guys are asking me anything before I keep moving on. Okay. Your video's good. Sparkles all over the sidewalk. Oh, that would be cute. I don't want to clean that up though. That's cool though. Share the feed if you can, guys. Make sure you like the page if you have not already done so, and share during the feed. So I'm going to do some black texture, and right along the chin area, if you can see where the fin is, there's some like black, dirty kind of texture there and around the mouth area. So I got this stencil out for that, and then I forgot to do it. So this, and then maybe just a little bit of small rough texture along the chin area with the stencil. All right, so let's just kind of do a little bit of a that kind of came out funny, but I don't think it'll show up. So, and then around the eye here, I'm going to do, see if I can find a scooped area, and I'll go around the eye here with a little bit of black. And we'll just kind of outline it with like this jagged stencil. That looks good. So that's what that looks like right now. Around the face there. Okay, so I'm going to do the other side now. And maybe just a little bit more on this chin area along the bottom gill plate. I don't want to overdo it, but I also like want it to show up. So I'm using kind of a really watered down black just so I don't put too much down at once. And then just a small an area with small holes on the stencil. I can't remember what I used on the other side now. I'm like, oh, what did I do? I forget now. That was good. Okay. It's all good in the hood. That was good. Okay, and then we'll scoop around the eye again with a rugged, like jagged stencil. All right, kind of like that. So that looks pretty cool right there. So I'm going to clean this out again. And then I will go ahead and just mostly, oops. I'm going to come back across with pearl white along the belly area again later. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. I don't want to shade over the orange and dull it for those orange spots in the middle. So I'm trying to think. I might have to do them first anyway. So this is a frog. This is a frog pattern that I used a while back. And these spots are kind of ideal for like this pattern that goes across the middle. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it kind of looks like the same sorts of shapes. So I'm going to use that for those. So we're going to take an orange. I'm just going to have to be careful when I shade the top that I don't dull these. This is candy orange. I don't know how this color is going to turn out. I haven't tried this color. So it's candy orange, which is kind of a weirdish, reddish orange kind of color. And I'm going to try a little bit of fluorescent raspberry. And don't ask why I'm picking this. I'm just going to try it, okay? It's clogged. I'm going to see if this, I want it to be kind of like a salmon orangish red. I don't want it to be too reddish. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but my brain tells me this might work. So we're trying it. I've never been good with like using a color wheel. I've never used one, and I'm sure that it would be much smarter to use the color wheel than to do what I do, which is just guess. And I don't even know one. Okay, that's not mixing at all. Sort of works. This color, it does kind of work actually. I'm gonna put a little bit more of this pink in there, and then see how it goes. Pray for me, okay? Okay. All right, so we're stirring. Might be too pink now. And it's not, this fluorescent doesn't like to mix very well. I think it might be okay. Let's try this color. Did you see that color? This is the color right here. That color. See that color? Should we try it? Too red? I don't know. It might be too red. Okay, I'm starting to second guess myself. We're going to put a little more orange in it. Okay, I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I'm going to leave it now, okay? So I'm going to stir this up, and we're just going to stencil some of these on here. Okay, so they start like right above the fin area kind of, and they just go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or so. All right, so I'm going to kind of block off the rest of the area with my fingers and pray that that works. I have no idea if it's going to work or not. We're going to try that. I'll show you kind of how it's going as I go here. I'm going to have to do these one at a time, so it's going to take me a little bit of time. I'm thinking that the color is okay. I think it's okay. I'm going to pull this off and see if I might need a little, well, no, I'm just going to leave it. I think it's okay. I'll do a couple more and then I'll show you what it looks like. I maybe could go a little more transparent on this. This is my first shot at it, so I don't know if it's going to turn out perfect. We'll just have to see what y'all think when I get done. Okay, and then maybe just like a smaller one. So you just kind of mix the shapes up a little bit. So some of them can be a little lighter and less regular, and some of them can be more regular. Just a mixture. And then maybe even a few smaller dots in between, you know, like make it look somewhat a little bit random and not totally perfect. Even grabbing like the occasional dot from here, like from a stencil like this, would be good to break it up and make it look less uniform. This is kind of what it's looking like so far. If you can see that coloration right there across the middle. I'm gonna keep going and just do a couple more on the other side here. I have a smaller version of this stencil and honestly think that I wish I would have chosen it, but I don't really like have it handy right now. I don't want to waste a bunch of time looking for it. So I'm going to keep going, but I made this stencil for a frog pattern I did a while ago. It was a pickerel frog crankbait. Very time consuming pattern that I did that just about killed me. And maybe someday I'll do it again, but I'm not going to make any promises on that because it was, like I said, they were time consuming. So, and those big frog crankbaits, I don't know that many people use them. They're pretty. That's for sure though. Okay. And then our cheek is going to get a big area of this too. And I'm going to put some behind the eye, and then I'm going to put some right on this side of the gill plate too. But what I really need to do is cover up the rest of the area on the other side of it. So I'm going to grab a stencil with a curve to cover that up while I'm doing this. Let's see if I can find something real quick here. I'll just cut something real quick. So I do this on the fly a lot. I just grab a random stencil and then just cut like a shape and try and just use that to cover up the gill plate area. So I'm just kind of matching it up here. Just like match it up so that I don't paint on the other side of this, if that makes any sense. I don't know if you guys can see that. You get the idea. So I'll just cover this up real quick, and I'm going to put a bunch of this color right here on the end of the gill plate. And then also we'll move up and we'll come behind the eye too. This almost has like a line, and I may come back and shade that back in. It's kind of hard to explain. I suppose it depends on how realistic you want to get. You could get really realistic and come back and like shade that in. I'm sure it's not necessary for the fish, but people like pretty lures, right? Okay, so that's going to get shaded with some brown before the end, so it's not going to look quite like that. So let's do the other side with these spots real quick. I'm just doing the gill plate right now, and then I'll come back. It's not spraying very smooth. Some of these paints are a little bit like old. And I have a little bit of trouble spraying them very reliably anymore. You'll notice that with water-based paints is if they sit for too long, you'll have some troubles with them starting to kind of dry a little bit. And these have definitely, like, some of them have been sitting a really long time. So it's possible that they're a little dried up. It won't hurt your finished product. It just makes painting a little more like stressful because you get more clogs, which I'm sure you've seen in my show from time to time, maybe just a little. Okay, so I'm just going along the edge. This doesn't have to be perfect, just okay, I'm making these dots down the side. Trying not to take too long because this is going to get drawn out if I take too long. I try to go too fast though, and then I start making mistakes. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Wrong button. I want to smear that. So I was just going to dry it real quick there. So I'm going to grab my other stencil here and do a couple from this one. So I mix and match stencils from different, whatever you want to call them, sets, just to get the shapes I want. Sometimes I don't like that. Okay, let me try this one here. So I'm just doing a few little ones around. Okay, so that goes along the side there. So those going along the side there. These going along this side there. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this red out. I'll need it for the fin, which I don't want to do yet. So I'll have to remix it, and I just put that in the wrong cup. Great. So back flushing, stick your finger on the end and bubble it back up. Sometimes you can clear clogs that way without taking your brush apart. This has a pretty gnarly clog in it right now. So one thing I do when they get really clogged is put some alcohol in there, and sometimes that helps too. Sometimes it doesn't. And then I'll just clean this out with a little brush. There's a bunch of like dried speckles. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit of black dotting after I back blend this with some white. I don't want to go over the black white, so I'm going to do this first along the bottom so that I get a cleaner white line on the bottom. Sorry, that wasn't very clean and it doesn't look good. So I had to redo it. Chunk of something in there. This is metallic white. Again, I'm going to go across the bottom just to clean this up a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just going along the bottom edge. So just cleaning up the bottom part of this a little bit to give it a nice clean. Okay. So I'm going to clean that out now, and then I'm going to do a smidge of pearl gold across the middle and some sepia along the face area. But I have to find my sepia. Sorry, I didn't grab that. So I have to get it from over here. And no, I can't find it, of course. Give me 1 second, everybody. 1 second. Here it is. I got it. Never fear, I got it. Okay. For some reason, this is not like looking gold enough, and it's kind of upsetting. So I'm gonna put a little bit of transparent gold. This could be a huge mistake, so we'll see what happens. This one's trickier for sure than like some of the others I've done. I like it actually. And that's just a little bit of transparent metallic gold across the middle. I'll do just another little. Okay. Oops, I keep spraying that in the wrong cup. Sorry. All right. And then the sepia will go around the face. And then I'm going to do a little shading of brown on the top, and we'll do some dotting. This one is not a slow one. Okay. Yes. Sorry, I held it up a whole bunch of times, except for just right now. I don't know. Do you guys want me to hold it up every time I do a spot, or do you want me to wait until I get done with the section to show you? Okay, so this is sepia. This is Wicked Detail. I'm sorry, not sepia, burnt umber. I meant to say burnt umber. Wrong words. My bad. Okay. So I just thinned this a little bit, and now I'm going to do a little shading around the face area. I'll come back to your questions if you have any in a minute here. So again, around this face area, I'm going to use this mask a little bit, and I'll show you the progress on this once I get back, once I get done with this color, so I'm not holding it up like every 2 seconds. So around this gill plate, it's almost like a reddish brown color in a bunch of spots, and then the orange kind of sticks out. And I'm trying not to overdo it. It's kind of tricky, though, I'll tell you right now. It is tricky. I don't really want to use the stencil because I feel like the line's going to be too harsh, but this stuff doesn't like spraying very smooth either, so it's a risky thing to do. I feel like it's all going to puke out on me at once, and I'm going to be screwed. Let me dry this a little. So I'm putting a little bit of umber on here. face of this doesn't look exactly like the fish, so it's kind of difficult, to be real honest, to make it look like the actual fish when it doesn't really look like the fish, if that makes sense. This has different lines than the real fish, so it's not as easy as it should be to. And there's the explosion I was afraid of. When your paint's not spraying very good, that's what happens, is it all comes out at once. My paint's never spraying good. This stuff is like... It's always angry at me. Okay, now I'm going to go around this area by the eyes. So I did it along the gill plate. I'm going to clean the tip of this off. It could have something to do with it. I don't think so, but we can pray that that's it. Once in a while, you have to clean your tip off of the airbrush. It helps. It helps. It's just coming out too thin and too irregularly. Sometimes if you get to it fast enough, you can blot off the wet paint. Okay. So I'm going to call that like good for now. This side looks a little bit better. It's stressing me out and it's not working very good, so I'm just going to stop. And then I'm going to clean this out. We're going to go for some brown shading on the top, and then I'm going to do my spots. And then we'll come back and do some final finish work with the fin and along the spine and around the eyes, and I'll put some eyeballs on it, and we'll see if I do this, because I'm not sure yet. Okay, see if I have any questions here real quick. Hello, Ross. How you doing? Share the feed if you can, guys. I know it's Halloween, so we're probably not going to have a lot of people watching live tonight. But if you share it, it'll still get to people eventually. So I'm just shading along the spine here, kind of not going too far down, but, you know, a little bit, I guess. And you'll see that it'll build a little bit. I'm going to stay mostly up top with this. Kind of like one layer at a time so that it doesn't start to run. Until I get it like somewhat dark, yes. And just keep going until you get, I'm going to go a little bit around the eyeballs too to darken that area. It's kind of a brownish tint around the eyes too. Now you could definitely do this cutthroat like the, you know, the spawning males with the bright red belly area and cheek. I could try one like that sometime too. Okay, let me go around the eyes a little bit again with this. eye area. This color over the sepia actually kind of makes it look a little bit better. I'll show you this in just a second. So there's that. It's okay. I don't know. I feel like it's so. I don't know. I'm not like loving this the way that I'd love to love it. Okay, we're gonna take this is just a like, I get all these stickers from clear bags. They're clear. I use them to close bags sometimes, but most of them I don't use. So I just keep them and I put like paint on them, and yeah, I repurpose them. And so I'm gonna grab a dotting tool. So this one has a really small end, and then it has a big fat end. These are from Amazon. You can just look for nail dotting tools, and you'll find this is just one of the set of like 6 or so, and they're all different sizes. On the ends, there's tiny ones and big fat ones. And these dots, now when you look at this, there's more on the tail than there are on the body, and they're kind of long, elongated top to bottom a little bit. So I'm just gonna do the best I can to replicate that. And so they're a little bit more spread out on the front side than they are on the back. So I'm gonna kind of like, I'll show you how it's going as I go here, but I'm just gonna start dotting and kind of like move a little bit fast. So you can stencil these dots on if you want to make a stencil for them, but honestly, this looks better in a lot of ways for the trout patterns than like a stencil does. For the rainbow trout, where you have like a ton of dots, then definitely stencil's a good idea. But when you're doing like just some sparse spread out dots like this, or you're going to do different colors, like with the brown trout, you have the white outline with the red or the black in the center. You really need to do them by hand because there's really not a great way to stencil those. You can try it, but you'll kill yourself mentally doing it because it's very hard to match them up. So it's just easier and it looks better if you just dot them like this. That's my opinion anyway. You can take it or leave it. My feelings aren't hurt if you leave it, but I'm just trying to help. So we have a lot of trout, Colorado, and some, a lot of them are in rivers, but we have a lot in our lakes too of different types. And if you're in a trout state, these are really effective, these different kinds of trout baits, because they really do. If you get them realistic looking, they work really well. I've got people who buy and rebuy my brown trout minnows and stuff for trout fishing because they work. So some of these are a little bigger near the tail, so you can kind of almost color it on. So you can just kind of like almost even swirl it around because they're not a uniform shape necessarily either. They have a little bit of irregularity to them. This does have some texture on the actual bait itself. So it can get in the cracks. So that can make it look kind of weird. So you have to be careful about that. So I'm just trying to replicate the picture the best I can. And again, every fish is going to look a little bit different. So it's not critical that you get it perfect. All right, now there's some really big spots on this right by the cheek. Do you see what I'm talking about? They like kind of frame the face right there. The big spots right by the cheek. So I'm going to do those too. So I'm going to take my big dotter and I'm just going to do those. There's like 3 of them. Sounds like elephants in my living room right now. I'm sure they're driving my husband crazy right now. Damn kids. They're nuts, man, I'm telling you. Okay, so that's what that looks like right now. So there it is right now. So let's do the other side with spots, and then I'll do me a fin, and I'll do the final shading with black and the eyeball, and then we'll have us a Halloween cutthroat trout. It perhaps, you know, it's funny, they call these the greenback, and they don't really, this picture, it really doesn't look green. It looks brown and gold, and that's in white. It doesn't really look green. There's green in here, and you can see it, but it doesn't really, it's not prominently green. And I wonder, like, in the light, if it looks more green, because I haven't really seen these in person. The lakes that they're in, if I've been to them, we haven't caught them while we were there. Surely Chris has seen them, but I have not. I mean, he has definitely, but maybe I did one time actually. Now that I think about it, I think when we were camping, maybe his dad caught one. I just remember that. We have a lot of rainbow trout in the lake that we live by, and they stock a lot of them here. And then the rivers have a lot of brownies. But we have cutthroats too, and what's the other one? I'm trying to remember what the other one is now. It's escaping my brain. I forget now. Brook. Sorry, brook trout. Okay. Oh, and I guess there are some tiger trout too. In some little, I don't know which lakes have them, but I know that there's some. There's a lot of little mountain lakes that we don't ever make it to because it's too far away. Okay, so that looks pretty good on this side, I think. Maybe a little more irregular would be better on the tail, like bigger and more irregular on the tail. That's not a super big deal. Okay, so let's try and make that color for the fin. I'm going to try using a different brush in hopes that it works better than that did. And I'm going to have to clean those out again. I always hate breaking down my brushes after I do a live show because I just destroy them taking too long. Shit, I just put way too much in there. It came out really fast. So I'm scooping some of that out. And I have to put some more orange in. I could barely get it to come out before it, and then I go to pour it now, and it comes out like super fast. So, okay, I'm remixing this, and we're going to put a fin on here in this bright orange color. Okay, that should work. And I'm going to grab me a fin stencil. I have a whole bunch over here. If I don't spill everything in the process. Some of these are kind of fat, and honestly, these trout stencils are fat, but I don't like the way that looks on a swim bait. Like, this would probably be ideal shape-wise for that. I don't know. I don't like the way that I mean, if we're going for realistic, that's probably the most realistic. I tend to prefer a longer, pointier stencil, even though it's not as realistic. Something like that. One right there, which might be too big. I'm trying to decide if it's too big or not. What do you guys think? I should go with the rounder one probably because it's more realistic. I'm going to refresh this so I can see if I missed anybody's comments while I was doing all that. I just got pink paint all over this. How did that happen? I must have had it on my hand. Okay, well, we're not going to show you that side because I just totally wrecked it. That's going to need a repair because I just totally got pink paint on the belly. It's so sad. I'll fix it. We'll finish up this side. And, oh, you know what? I never did the big black dots there on the face. Dude. Okay, what else did I miss here? Did I miss anything? Looking good. Hey, Richard. How's it going? Okay. The big dots on the cheek I missed. I can't believe I just did that. I got paint on my thumb or something, and I just freaking got it on there. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I don't know how I missed that. I can't believe I did that. Coming out here probably to tell me I'm taking too long. I would guess. All right, let's do this fin. I'm going to use this one right here. No, this one right here. And we'll see how it goes. This cord isn't as long as my other one. I'm going to dry this real quick. These dotted paint, this is really wet, so I'm going to dry it real quick. It's going to take 5 years to dry, so we'll call that good and hope it doesn't end up everywhere. So I'm just holding this stencil against here, and I'm going to trace around the edge of it as best as I can, and then get it the most dark in the area where it meets the belly, and then fan it out a little bit from there. Not looking very good. I don't like it. I think I'm going to have to shade over this with a different color because I don't like it. So it's really super orange and it looks like poop. I don't like it. This is a disaster. So it ran into my other spots and it looks like poop and I hate it. So I'm going to put some sepia in. Well, this is sepia already, so it'll be good. And I'm going to darken it down just a little bit. I give up on life tonight. This was a hard one, you guys. They don't always turn out great. I made some boo-boos tonight. This one not turning out as great as I would like. So I'll probably repaint it is what's going to happen. So don't be surprised if it's totally redone. It looks completely different. So the fin ran into the spots and that sucks. So let's try it again on this side, even though there's pink on here. And I'm going to put this one a little bit further down and closer to the body. And then I'll take the brown and I'm going to do an outline around the thin stencil with the brown. Okay, that looks better, but I have the fluorescent pink spots on it because I jacked that up. So that looks better. That fin looks better. So let's put the eyeball on there. I'm going to finish darkening this down, and I'll put some black around the eyes and the top of the back. Okay, clean this out, and stupid pink. I think I can fix that just the spots alone. So I'll do that later. All I'll do probably is cover it up with white, or I can take a Q-tip and erase all that. I'll probably cover it with white and then go back over it with the pearl very carefully. And hopefully I should be able to do it without screwing anything else up. I'm just going around the eye socket with the black here. And then I'm going to take that stencil that I used to go around the bottom of the eye, and I'm going to kind of darken that back up again. I don't know if I used that way or a different one. I think it was this one right here. And I'm going to just redo this to make it dark again. Looks good. Okay. I'll show you in just a second. So right around the eyeball there, I blacken that up a little bit. And then I'll do the other side too. Don't mind my neon pink on the belly. I accidentally smeared some pink paint on there with my finger. And I'm going to have to fix it later because nobody wants to wait while I fix that. It'll take way too long. So I'm not going to do it right now. It's already taking too long. But this is like these new patterns, they really take a long time to figure out. And sometimes doing this show is what gives me the discipline to sit and actually figure it out, because I don't have the patience otherwise, unless I'm forced to. I don't have the patience to sit down and figure this crap out. I'd rather just like, you know, do something else because this is hard. Okay, what was the last thing that I needed to do? Eyeballs. Okay, so let me take off my gloves, and then I put the eyeballs over here. I was going to show you guys some lures that I finished too. So this is my natural chrome shad that I just posted. I have an auction up on Flea Market, and these are super duper shiny. You can see yourself in the mirror. It has a little bit of a purplish hue on the top. This one is supposed to be like a fathead minnow, but it's like an IU shad or whatever you would want to call it. There might be a little dust on this. So that's what that looks like up close. And it's got a little bit of purple on the belly. That's really hard to see. It's hard to see unless you're here in person. And I also just finished this one, which is, I think I call it the orange belly chrome shad. So that one turned out really nice too. It's got kind of a 3D scale, and then the orange belly. So these are new to the store. And then I have these ones that were already in there. So this is the like chartreuse belly or chartreuse shad. That one is available too. These are all super shiny. My red chrome craw gold splatter. And those are in store too, super shiny. And this was my, I don't remember what the heck I called this one, but this one's in there too. Emerald, I think I called it emerald or something. These have a little bit of dust on them. And so there's that one. And then some of the jigs that we finished. I'll just show you a couple of the really cool ones that I love. This is the I don't know what I called blue silver shad, I think. So these are poison head jigs. So that's got a nice sparkly glitter finish on the head, and these are hand poured. So Chris pours all the lead for these, and then I paint them and put them together. So they're very time consuming, but the prices are fair. They're not too bad. So don't be scared. Go check them out in the store, and then yeah, these are super nice. And then here's the Chartreuse poison head jig. And then I have these colors also in football jigs. And we're going to do some other styles too. He poured a bunch of football heads, and so that's what I started with. And then we're going to be doing some more stuff too. So there's the purple with the green pumpkin splatter, and these most of these have like a sparkly head to them, and then sparkly skirts. But there's a whole bunch of really cool colors, and these are all hand painted by yours truly with 2 coats of Illumi UV on all of these, and so they should be very durable. I do like all of Chris's football heads for him and Ned heads and stuff, and I coat them both. I coat them all with 2 coats of Illumi UV, and he swears we have nothing but rocks here where we live, and he swears that that's like the most durable finish that he's ever had on jigs. So let's put some eyeballs on this and call it a day. So we're gonna put some oval eyes on these, and these are I order all these from AliExpress, or Backwater Outfitting has a lot of lure eyes as well. Between those 2 places is where I get all of my eyes. If you want some nice, really fancy eyes, Jetson Lure Eyes has amazing stuff. It just takes some time to get it, so you have to be patient. They're all like handmade in his shop here in Georgia. I don't live in Georgia, but he's in Georgia. So I did post. So there's the finished product, Cutthroat Trout. It looks better than I thought, but I still am kind of upset about the fin placement on this side, and the pink spot is going to be fixed. But it looks pretty good otherwise. Maybe a little more green, but overall not bad. And it's my first shot on that. So if you want to see how these swim, I did post a link to a website that has a description of the action on these. And so if you want to see how they can be fished, where'd the tails go? I just had those out. So there's a description linked on a post that I posted tonight on my Facebook page. So you can fish these with the tail facing up or down, and the action's really different depending on how you do it. And these also have a removable lip. So you can either fish them without the lip or with the lip. And if you want them to sink, you do have to put like weight strips on the belly of them, but they're designed for that. So this is basically, they swim just below the surface unless you weight them. And you can either put the lip in or you can leave it off, and you'll get different actions. So go read that article if you're interested in learning about those. But thank you guys so much for watching and your patience tonight, because it's kind of a hot mess. And check out the new stuff, and also use your discount code to get 15% off. And yeah, that's about it, guys. So thanks guys for the comments, and have a great night. We'll see you next week.